I'll just get him. Okay, so our table of contents, this is for our PLC agenda today. We're gonna go over our vision statement, the agenda that we have for today, the problem that we're facing, or that I'm facing right now, part one of the project, how we changed some of it for part two, the analysis of it, what we could do going further. The YouTube link is what we are taping today, so that will be put in for class, and then any final thoughts you all have moving forward. All right, so here is our PLC vision statement. My personal vision statement for a PLC is a group of staff members working collaboratively together to help meet the needs of students and staff. Our PLC should be data-driven and is not another meeting. It is a time for data conversation, student learning, resource sharing, and a time for us to grow professionally as a team. Our set norms and schedule help us to stay on task and to have meaningful conversations that will promote student growth and learning for all students. Communication with students, staff, and parents is also an important PLC component. Do you have any questions?
I like it.
Okay, so our agenda, reviewing our roles, presentation of the project. Do we have any thoughts moving forward how we can implement this into other grades or plan for our next meeting? Adjourn. Okay, here is the problem that I'm facing as a counselor. So as a kindergarten through grade 8 school, I'm the only counselor for over 700 students. It can be difficult to reach every student's need in a timely manner. Our current problem is bullying in 6th and 7th grade. Some students do not know the difference between bullying and being mean, but as administrators, we would like to decrease the problem in these grades and across all grade levels going forward. We want to bring awareness to students and if not addressed, what it can do to students in the long term if not properly addressed. So right now, this plan is for 6th grade, and then how we can implement it to other grades. Okay, so part one of the project, giving a survey to 6th grade students to see their thoughts on bullying and what we can implement in the classroom. So upon the plan, we gave the survey, and then we went forward on using the data to make lessons from there. We were able to see where the students thought the problems occurred the most, what they felt could decrease some of this, and what we could do as teachers and staff to kind of decrease some of the problems. Some of the lessons that we did with this, we did a garbage or trash lesson where the students wrote their names, or I'm sorry, they did not write their names. They wrote with how they were feeling or what they felt like was on their mind, whether it was a bullying issue, something that they were bothering to them. They didn't crumbled up the paper and threw it. They collected the paper anonymously and they read these problems out loud. So it kind of gave an understanding of what their friends might be going through and working on building them up instead of always trying to push them down. We also did some videos talking about you can say sorry all you want, but every time you put somebody down, it's kind of like you're stomping on them and they're always going to leave that ripple effect on them. We did videos. Other things we did were just some writing and hands-on activity. Like I gave them some writing prompts and then we collected those writings just to kind of see how are they feeling that they might not want to say otherwise. There's an article right here that talks about an investigation of middle school teachers' perceptions on bullying. The article is really long, it's 34 pages, so it won't go into all of it. Actually, it really gave some great resources. At the end of the article, about 15 pages worth, were just on different surveys and questionnaires that you could give to the students.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're fine. That you could kind of give to the students to see how they were feeling or what we might be able to do as a staff as a needs assessment for their grade level. So it's actually really good. Some of the other things was just, oh gosh, I'm trying to think how these teachers' perception of bullying, that we spend so much emphasis on bullying and the after effect, but we don't put in those initiatives to kind of stop it to begin with. So they kind of gave some great resources for that. So here is the part two of the project. So with the classes in place, students seem to be receptive to the information. They liked a lot of the activities. They were engaged in the lessons. It kind of, some of them even said that they were sorry at the end, that they felt like they hadn't done much, just kind of on how their friends felt like they were feeling with all this information they had received. One of my goals was just after implementing a strategic bullying plan through classroom guidance, the incident of bullying will decrease by 20%. We'd love to see that number be higher. but right now we've gotta start somewhere, cause if we have this elaborate thing, it's never gonna be successful. So it did decrease, I gave another questionnaire to the students, but there are still a lot of problem areas, or areas that we need to work on. Some of the things that the students can do, they can fill out a Google form if they suspect bullying to themselves, if they suspect it to somebody else. They can also fill out a form, just something they need to talk about. Maybe they don't know if it's bullying, but they wanna see where they can go. The next step, let's go over the data first. So here were some different questions. Witness bullying, so before the guidance lesson, about 46% said they had seen bullying.
Wow.
I re-gave this again shortly after implementing some of these lessons, and it had gone down to around 30%. So we are decreasing, maybe not where we would like to be, but it is going down. Personally bullied was just over 9%. After we've kind of had some conversations with them, implemented some of these activities, it had gone down to 7%. This is where they felt like, is it a problem? When you can look, it still is a problem. It's 35% before we did it, they felt like bullying was a problem, whether it was someone just continuously being mean to somebody or the issue. And then afterwards, it was about 27-28% of the students said it was a problem. So again, there has been some effectiveness, and I think a lot of it is going into different teachers. You know, some of these lessons have been helpful, and some of them have matured too, and you know, they kind of figured out where they are. And the last one, this was the biggest area of complaints, is going in and out of the playground. It was, I think it was like 47-48% said of all the incidents where they saw it, that's where they were occurring. Now it is about 40%. So it hasn't gone down too much, but still. So we've got a lot of work to do in those areas. And here were some of the questions and some of the data. So some of this was kind of interesting. So we asked them if they had witnessed bullying this year, and again, 46% of them said that they have. But if you look, 32% were unsure, whether they didn't know if it was bullying or if somebody was just being mean to them. How often have you seen bullying this school year? Every day was 7%, but for the most part, they'd only seen it about once or twice out of the whole school year. So they think it's this big problem, but for the most part, kids have seen it once or twice. So then again, goes back, is it really bullying? Or is it just somebody being mean? Have you been bullied this school year? So they think it's a problem, but then 63% of them said they've never been bullied. So again, you know, some of it's kind of skewed. And then this is where I was talking about the playground, and 47% of them said that was the biggest area of concern. And a big problem is 35%. So that was some of the big questions. There were a couple other ones, and the suggestion ones, but I did not include this in the data. So here are some of our next steps. So I wanted to see what they thought we as a staff could do more moving forward. A lot of them just said having their teachers being available more for them to listen to. Some of them say, we'll get to it, we'll move on, and they don't feel like their voices are being heard. So a lot of that was, if we could take the time to the teachers to say, they want to talk to you first before they go to the resource teachers. You know, to any of us, they just want to be able to tell somebody. So trying to get that. I'm going to continue doing this. I want to try to move this into other grade levels. And something else we're going to be starting is a program called SPAVA. And it is on, there's a whole information about it if you'd like to look at it. But it's on aggression, some bullying, and ways to take all this, to have your voice be heard, and how you internalize that, and what you do outwardly is how is it going to affect somebody else. And it's very powerful. It's going to be a 10-week lesson that starts next Thursday for 6th grade. All 6th grade will have it, and it goes until the middle of May. And it has been shown to decrease bullying, decrease aggression, and these coping skills. A lot of it is coping skills that at their age, they still don't really know how to cope with how they feel.
Do you feel like if this is a good thing that you'll implement it across the school?
That's what I would like to do. It is a grant, so it depends on how much money and time, but I would like to take some of the information to kind of go ahead and start it with like 7th graders. And they said it's more for probably 5th or 6th or 8th grade. We could tweak it for the young ones, but a lot of it, they're not gonna understand some of the language. But I wanted it to be in all grades, but we only got to pick one grade for now because it was a grant and it's being paid for through the school system.
Awesome.
JCPS has started, it's been very successful in a lot of their schools. So if they found some success, then hopefully, you know, we can too. They get to do a couple different projects with it. There's like a lot of peace builder activities, hands-on. Some of it's, you know, like a sit and get, but they said they keep them engaged throughout the whole thing. So that's really YouTube like that. Do you have any questions for moving forward?
No, it sounds great.
What was the second, you said, outside playground, what was the second one? Was it classroom or restroom or?
Let's go back.
I think, I couldn't
there it
see
is.
the.
The next one is classroom,
Oh.
which I was surprised by that, because I would have
Yeah.
thought the hallway or the cafeteria,
Restroom
those
or
transition times.
cafeteria or.
So again, I'm like, is it really bullying?
Well, I was gonna say, that could be
Cafeteria's
perception,
not
right?
closed.
Yeah, and where you would think that would be the biggest one, cafeteria really is not a factor, or the bathroom, only 2 people said the bathroom. And those are those transition
Yeah.
unattended times.
That's where I would have thought they were.
Some of it is
Interesting.
perception of
It
their
is.
age,
Yeah.
where things where we think of a problem, they don't really see it as a problem.
I was just curious.
Oh, no, I mean, I liked looking at it too, because it was kind of eye-opening experience for me too.
Yeah.
So any questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna try to invest your all's help in seeing how this goes in 6th grade and moving this into other areas of need.
I think it's a great idea, and that was a great group to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
They're
don't
the
think
ones
you
who
could have
most need
chosen
it.
any better of a group,
Mm-hmm.
cause that way you'll know if it's working or not.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
hopefully
got
move
most
them up through
success.
junior high as well, you know.
And if we can get it there, then maybe that might be the age that we feel like that we need to target the most. And
Definitely.
so there's a small group.
Well, and I feel like that age, that 6th grade is the age that most kids start really advocating for themselves, or, you know, versus you hear a lot 4th and 5th grade. I don't hear so much from the kids, I hear a lot from the parents. My kid's being bullied, not the kids
are
saying
or
it.
seeing it.
So,
And I think sometimes the 4th and 5th, they truly don't really know
right,
if it is that issue or not. Where 6th grade, they're starting to be more aware of the surroundings
Right.
around them. And then we actually are gonna plan too, there's a small group of 7th graders that really, really need some of these coping skills. We're hoping that the guy can get it worked into a schedule, or at least he can pull them if we can take them out of some of their classes. So there might be about 5 of them that, although we couldn't get it for all of 7th grade, some of these kids can really benefit on how to handle these aggressive behaviors or impulse
From others.
control. Yes.
Okay.
awesome.
I think that's
Good job.
it. Any other questions?
Nope, very interesting.